Hello and welcome to this episode of WorldAnvil.com. Today we're looking at materials. Now, the material template says raw materials, trade resources, chemical elements, anything from mithril to adamantium to uranium to unobtainium 2000. Now, this just gives you a hint that there is a remarkable amount of storytelling that you can add to your game by simply adding in a material. And why do I say that? Well, mithril only exists because it was a material that was added into a gaming system. It was this incredibly hard material and it gave it a unique property. Unobtainium 2000 obviously comes from the Avatar series. Now, unobtainium literally means it is unobtainable except in a specific area. So when we then look at the template, we've got our usual tabs and things, but this is where it gets really exciting. Physical characteristics, great. So it's really hard or it's really brittle. It conducts magic. It doesn't conduct magic. What does it do? What is it a compound of? Can it be ground up and added to something? Is it something like, say, brass or bronze? Which is a compound of various elements. Is it something like steel, for example? It's all here. Where is it found? What's its geology? What's its origin? Does it have a half-life? Does it expire? If you're writing a sci-fi game, do these aliens build their ships out of this particular type of organic/inorganic material, which after 1,000 years starts to break down because it's biodegradable? That's something that we're really focused on in this current era of ours, is biodegradability. So it's all this kind of stuff. What does it taste like? Now, I love this particular part because this just adds to the senses. What does mithril taste like? Is it cold to the tongue? Is it sort of a slickly taste? Does it taste like metal? What does it smell like? What's its color? Boiling point, melting point, all these kinds of things you can really add in. Then, of course, you can go even down to the proton number, depending on the element, if it's an element, that sort of thing. Density, what's it found in most common state. If you look at something like Dragon Age, you've got red lyrium and blue lyrium, and they have very different effects, but they're a very, very integral part of the story throughout. Actually, all three, is it three? Yes, all three of the games, red lyrium features, and blue lyrium obviously is there all the time. Then we've got usage. Now, this is possibly one of the most, I don't want to say overly worked type of template, but there's so much here that you really, really shouldn't be stuck for a problem. And the thing I really like is cultural significance. So we look at the material, we look at mithril. It's culturally significant to the elves in traditional sort of mythology because it's the material that they make their armor out of, or it's this rare thing that the dwarves have to mine deep down far into the earth to try and get to. Adamantium is this incredibly strong thing. Kryptonite is this incredibly powerful remnant of an old planet that blew up and defeats Superman. So there's cultural significance is there as well. And so really there's not much that I can advise you except for just to go through and let your imagination run wild. How do we use this? What do we turn it into? What do we manufacture? What are the byproducts? What are the hazards of working with this material? Red lyrium drives you mad and turns you into a demon eventually. That's a pretty bad thing. Reusability, recycling. So there's just so much. And then, of course, how do we distribute it? How do we store it? What are the laws and regulations about it? Is it illegal? Is it something that's contraband that has to be smuggled across the borders? How rare is it? So this section on materials, don't overlook it. It's huge and it can bring so much to your game. It will make your game really come alive. This is an area that nobody should overlook. Anyway, until next time, light up the forge.